I'm an educator in STEM Cafe. Today I'm going to tell you what we can do in STEM Cafe. STEM is an acronym that means science, technology, engineering, and math. In STEM Cafe, you can explore different science concepts by interacting with activities and projects and science experiments. You can pick different competencies by doing these things in fun ways. You can use craft materials and things around you to make science projects. There are many careers in STEM. Our career of the day is hydrologist. Hydro means water. A hydrologist is someone that studies water and all the forms water takes, such as rain, snow, and ice. A hydrologist researches groundwater, researches about the quality of water and how water can influence our environment. Let's talk about fun facts about water. Fun fact number 1. 70% of the human brain is made up of water. Fun fact number 2. Hot water can freeze faster than cold water under some conditions. Fun fact number 3. A swimming pool naturally loses about 1,000 gallons of water a month to evaporation. Welcome to my magic closet. We're going to be grabbing the materials we need for our science experiments. Remember, all these materials are reusable, so don't throw them away because you might want to use them to explore different science projects. If you need help handling any of the materials, call an adult. Let's grab our materials. Meet me at the workstation. Today we're going to be doing a science experiment and it's called Floaty Egg. We're going to be exploring science concepts around density and dissolution. So density can be described as mass over volume. It can also be described as how tightly or loosely packed molecules are in an object. Dissolution is the ability of a substance to dissolve in a solvent to form a solution. The materials we need for this floaty egg experiment are a teaspoon, a cup, salt, clean water, ruler, 2 transparent jars or cups, and 2 raw eggs. Have you ever thought about what makes an object float or sink in water? Today we're going to be doing an experiment to see these 2 eggs float and sink in water and what causes that. Step 1, get a cup, pour in some clean water carefully into the cup. And a clean jar. We want to pour water about 6 centimeters full. You can measure to see just a bit more. So we have water in our jar about 6 centimeters full. Step 2, get an egg and place it on top of the water. Set it aside. And next step, put water in the second jar about 6 centimeters full and add 2 teaspoonfuls of salt. Carefully stir you can notice that the salt is dissolving inside the water to make a solution. And then add the second egg into the water and watch. You would observe that in the cup without the salt, the egg sinks to the bottom of the cup, and in the cup with the salt, the egg floats. You would also notice that the color of the water changes in the jar with the salt. Why? Because of the salt. It dissolved in water to create a solution, and there's a visible reaction, the change of the color of the water. Now, if your egg doesn't float, you can add more salt to your water to make it float. You would also observe that in the cup with the salt, you would observe that the egg floats. Reason is because the salt in the water increases the density of the water, making the egg to float. That means the egg is lighter than the water. In the cup without the salt, the egg sinks to the bottom because the egg is heavier than the water. It does not contain salt, so the density of the water does not increase. Therefore, we can say that anything that floats on water is lighter than water, and anything that sinks in water is heavier than water. You can try pushing the egg down and see that it always comes back to the top because the density of the water does not get altered, so it remains like that. So let's go over this experiment again. This is the floaty egg experiment, and we learned about dissolution and density, and also a bit of measurement using our ruler. We had to use jars, clear jars, eggs, salt, a teaspoon, a cup, and clean water. And we have learned today that whatsoever floats on water is lighter than water, and whatever sinks in water is heavier than water. And also salt increases the density of water. That is what causes this egg to float, and because there's no salt here, the egg sinks. Let's see how much you've learned from this experiment. Which do you think weighs more? The fresh water or the salt water? The salt water. The reason is because the salt inside the water makes the water to have more density than the one without the salt. Now that you have the answer, you can explore different materials at home that can sink and float in water. Which other materials do you think, or which other objects do you think can have the same effect as the eggs to float or to sink in water, fresh water and in salt water? That's the end of our experiment. See you next week. Until then, keep exploring. Remember to wash your hands. Bye. You can follow us on our social media platforms for more engaging content, projects, and experiments.